Finally, guys.
So, just start a little bit of loosening up. Using my vertical. Roland. Okay. And just playing a little bit with the front and back. And just really involve the hands in the move as well, so just allow everything to nice and flexible. And with this one, you can also, obviously, you can move everything from the center of the body, but in this one, just imagine everything's kind of moving from the chest, as if you kind of get pushed and pulled from the chest. Just to explore different kind of areas of the body as well. So let's work a little bit here. And again, like we did yesterday, also play a little bit with the feet being forwards. And you can just play a little bit more. You'll find the direction much easier to kind of explore. So you can really start to move through the direction, front and back. Good. Okay. Yeah, and the other good way you can explore this direction, if you can, is on the ground. So you can do it in a kind of seiza. So if you can also really explore the direction this way, because you've got a really solid base. You can really explore the direction very clearly. So you can do it standing, seated. In seiza is actually a really nice position to do it from. If you want to play with it, you tend to always do these in standing, but each of the direction has a kind of position which is more comfortable in a way, or more you can explore the direction fully. In the front back case, it's usually on the ground, sitting. And side to side. And again, the side to side direction is a nice one. You can do in seiza because you've got a very stable base, so you can really play with. Yeah. What's nice about doing it in seiza or in a seated position is you can also use the hands as a kind of thing to kind of explore. So you can, if you like, just explore a little bit with the position. That's good. And then just start to kind of come into a rotation movement, or basically just feel that you're taking the upper body towards the ground. Basically starts to swing through the movement. Good. And also exploring a little bit more to the back. Just be careful with the spine. Okay, just coming down to a full rotational movement. And in this case, don't worry so much about the feet in terms of them being kind of, I was talking yesterday or last night, about the feet being kind of glued into the ground with this. But in these kind of exercises, just really loosen everything. Just allow the body to leave, the feet to leave the ground if you feel like they should. Go ahead a little bit with the hands. And again, just explore a little bit more now. Coming a little bit more to the ground. Releasing through the hips. And just let the body kind of sway side to side. The hands are basically going to scrape across the ground. It's really now about opening the hips out. So just see if you can explore the hips. What's also nice if you're down in the ground or towards the ground is placing the hands in the ground and just gives you an extra kind of support. A little bit of weight into the hands, not too much, but just so you can really start to loosen the hips off. So just play a little bit. It's almost the position where you go into a handstand. Don't do that, but just feel that the lower body gets a bit lighter. And that basically means you can explore, hopefully, the limbs a bit more freer. And it just means that you've got now 4 points of contact you can transfer the weight between. So just play a little bit in this position. Just loosening off the hips. And by loosening off the hip, you should also feel that the spine starts to kind of loosen more. And just take it nice and slowly back up and back to a rotation, and then just start to have the feeling the arms can come with the move. So a little bit more movement with the arms, focusing out. That's great. Okay, good. And then the last direction we've not done for a while actually is working with a wave through the whole body. So just working now this kind of internal. And now the feeling is everything that the last one, the rotation is really working the hips. And this one goes like into the pelvis right underneath, and the feeling is really that the movement's being generated really from the pelvis. So just see if you can really start to make the pelvis really kind of flexible and fluid. And start with kind of small movements. And then when you feel the whole movement's kind of working through the body, just start to open it out. And really feel in this case that you're kind of working up the spine. So feel that the movement kind of starts in the pelvis. So the legs here, the groin, and then what you want to do is just kind of feel that you unlock it up through the hips, lower back, and then all the way through the thoracic spine, and everything's going to start to kind of wave through. This is also a nice exercise you can do against the wall if you get time. You can basically, you've got to kind of feed back against the wall. Just play a little bit with it. That's it. Okay, I'm just going to watch a little bit. Okay, nice. Nice. So very nice. Ah, good. Okay, good. Yeah, and John, you're doing something really interesting. Try this also. You can do this as a kind of, sometimes we do these movements like a kind of long phrase movement, and sometimes like a kind of pulse through it, and then you basically feel the movement pulse through the body. So in this case, you can also do this kind of spinal wave as a kind of pulse. So feel that you kind of contract down, and then feel that everything kind of comes out of it. So there's a kind of, feel that there's a kind of impulse from the pelvis, and that there's a kind of ripple out from the body. So it's got a different kind of quality of movement. So just try this as a kind of exercise. You've got kind of long moves, and then there's a feeling like the movement kind of released there. So there's a kind of different kind of dancers would call this a kind of phrasing. The phrasing is slightly different. So the movement's got a different kind of quality. That's it. Yeah, nice. That's it. So, very nice. That's it. Nice. So, very nice. Yeah, and then just explore this route a little bit. If it might help just to open the legs out a little bit more. And what I want you to do now is basically come all the way into the ground. Open out and then roll through it. So there's 2 points to explore, really opening the back, this kind of backwards arc of the body. So you're gonna kind of, as if you're kind of drawing a bow, kind of roll everything back. And then find everything's gonna come down to the ground. So you basically come into a kind of deep squat. And again, just explore this kind of movement. You might find a bit easier just with a wider posture, so just explore what feels okay for you. It's nice to explore a little bit of a wider movement. But this exercise now makes super clear this idea of opening the body out and then closing everything down. You've got these two movements of the body. And just explore, again, big and small movements. Coming fully to the ground, opening fully to the back. That's nice. Great. Okay, and then the way you can basically take this exercise is really start to work in spirals. So the waves are a really important thing for me in terms of a quality of movement, and also obviously spiral movement. So this basically combines the two. So you basically create a direction through the movement. So where I would normally just come down straight through, I basically start to kind of rotate into it. So just play a little bit now. And for me, it starts to involve the hands much more. So again, before the hands just kind of follow, but now they follow and they start to kind of find spirals as well. So just play a little bit here. And again, it's worth kind of opening the movement out, really exploring the legs, the lower body. One of the problems with the weapon work is we tend to always be on a kind of standing position. It's also nice just to explore a little bit more, coming into the ground, and just do it in a kind of comfortable way for you. Just explore the feet. And again, if you feel like it, in this case, start to kind of work the feet as well. So you're going to start to, a little bit like you're coming into these kind of cocky patterns. But you're basically now just exploring spirals through the body. So. So this time we're going more into our structure. So you've got a kind of loose quality through the limbs, through these setai work. Now we're starting to bring more structure into it. So, good, I just want you to see. Oh, very nice. Nice. Yeah, good. Yeah. Okay, good, Bernie, good. So yeah, but actually this is actually a good point. When we do this work, or when we tend to do this work, the work in these classes, we tend to look at structure. We're talking a lot about structure in a way, good structure or sound, solid structure. And that's great. But if you think in terms of when we look at ukemi, or when we look at actually taking the techniques, you find the body's actually being drawn out of its structure. So the ukemi practice is actually a practice of how I stay flexible under that pressure. So just explore. It's a kind of hard thing to replicate in terms of I have to basically put myself in a bad position, and it's a kind of strange thing to do. So this is one of the strengths of ukemi and partner training, is that the partner does it for me. So in this case, just work a little bit. You've got kind of, in a way, really good structure, or as best structure as I can do. And then in a sense, you've got kind of coming out of the structure. So I feel like these kind of movements where I get drawn out of my structure. And it's worthwhile just exploring it, just to really feel what happens in the body. Now, if my ability to stay flexible is down to my structure, But I also feel now at this point the body's being drawn out. So that's the kind of counter in this one. So it's trying to stay flexible under pressure. Just explore a little bit the body coming out of structure in a way. The best kind of techniques to think about is in IKKYO. Yeah. Basically where the limbs being pulled away from you, in a way, pulled away from the center. That's it. So just play a little bit with it. And the ukemi is really interesting because you're asked to be pulled out of the structure and then try and regain it. So it's got a nice quality. You're coming in and out of the structure. That's it. That's it. That's it. Oh yeah, good. And if you like, just the last few, feel that you can come into the ground with it. So if you imagine something like a IKKYO or something, of being drawn into the ground, and just feel that body's coming down. You can obviously go all the way down, but just depending on how you feel, just play with it a little bit, or you can just stay in this kind of upright position and just explore it here. Just explore a little bit. For me, the best one's IKKYO, so you can kind of drawn out, drawn down, trying to chain the body down, but also realizing I'm out of posture. So just play a little bit with it, and you don't need to go fully to the ground, only if you feel like it. Feel pretty flexible this morning. So. That's it, very nice. Nice. Good. And this is kind of interesting also how we talk about Aikido. Sometimes a lot of these quotes from O-sensei, he says the art of peace constantly, the art of peace. So it's a kind of interesting quote, but I think it's actually a really bad translation of something he was trying to say. In a way, for me, the best English word we've got for Aikido is it's about non-resistance. So it's about not resisting something. So which is different from, again, if I think in terms of a kind of pacifist way. In a way, it's not a kind of pacifist art. It's about non-resistance. So the idea, if I'm kind of passive or pacific, I'm going to kind of allow my structure to be taken. So I'm going to allow everything's okay and everything's happened, and I'm just going to kind of melt through the movement. But if I'm a kind of non-resistance, I'm going to kind of meet it. So I'm going to meet the pressure, and I'm going to equal it with my body. So it's not what I want to happen, but I'm going to meet it on my terms, basically. That's the kind of thing of non-resistance. So it's trying to set up the body so that it's not, and that I'm not resisting it. So it's this space in between non-resistance, which is a very difficult thing to define in a way. But it's a kind of feeling in the body. So just play a little bit with it, against the ground a little bit. Yeah. Good. Nice. So, very nice. Good. Okay, we're gonna continue with the Joe work, so it's a little bit of a extending into the warm-up. So I think we've done this before, but maybe a long time ago. You're gonna basically use the Joe out like this. Again, this is to create a little bit of uncertainty later. What I want you to do is just start by holding the Joe and change, just start with just playing the feet. So basically the Joe stays on the same spot. I'm just gonna start to move the whole one and just play with the Joe a little bit. All the time, feel that one hand's on the Joe, at least one hand. You can play with both, but just feel that constantly one hand is on the Joe. So the Joe's really fully in control, and I can really explore the body. Just move a little bit, so we'll do a little bit of a free A little bit of a movement last today. Let's just see what's happening. Oh, very nice. Okay, good. Nice. Okay, good. Just play with one idea in this case. Play with basically the distance between you and the Joe. So I want you to play with the feeling. I talk about this sometimes. When I talk about drawing the Joe into the body. So you basically bring the Joe into the center. Now this is what we do when we do Morotodori, these kind of things. You draw into the center and then you expand out from it. So just practice a little bit here. What it basically means is that the center is going to kind of come into the Joe. So just play a little bit like this, feeling the center comes in and they expand out again. The center comes in and then they expand out. So it's got this quality of for me, it's like hugging. It's like coming in and room, and then I actually leave. So it's coming in, hugging, and then rolling in and leaving the kind of encounter. So just play a little bit. This feeling, it's kind of coming in and then expanding. Coming in, coming in. And in this case, it's being comfortable with bringing the center in, straight directly in. Yes, Aikido is actually very interesting. It works on a very specific distance. So arts like judo, they work by real grappling. So this is quite close. Now, striking arts work on a striking distance, obviously. Kicking arts work on a kicking distance. Aikido works at a very specific distance where it's basically my extension in the body. So it's got a Aikido's actually got a very small window where it works. The distance is very, very tight. As soon as you go beyond closer, you go to grappling. As soon as you go further, you need to be striking. So Aikido is a very, in a way, it's very specific art. And just to explore now, the feeling is that I need to bring the center in, really keep the extension. So just explore it a little bit. But Aikido's really got this very, very, very specific distance where it's functional. A little bit beyond it won't work. A little bit away won't work. So. That's it. That's it. That's it. Good. Okay, some of you already noticed this now, so we've done this before. Just imagine now you just drop the Joe. So the Joe basically drops, and I'm just going to kind of catch it and then come down. You can do this a few ways. I'll do that just to the first one, which is just kind of using the lower body. I use this as a kind of ukemi exercise. So I just stand the Joe up, drop it, and really come towards the ground this way. Now I'm not really grabbing it, I'm just kind of catching it in the hand, and then just come back up, drop it down, and then just come down. So I'm really following it with the body. So get the center, release it, catch it, come back up. And do this nice and slow. All right, and come back up. And don't worry about losing the Joe. It happens. So just let it fall. Catch it. Come back up. Catch it. Come back up. So this is the first step. It's really a kind of lower body ukemi exercise. Just to kind of switch on the lower body a little bit. Okay. Yeah, good. Yeah, I used the wrong word. I said catch. So this is in a way what I'm not doing is trying to catch the jaw. So what I'm actually doing, I should say I'm catching with the whole body. So I'm placing the body so that it's going to catch the jaw. The main thing we've got with this is we try and do it with the arms. So this, and then I basically pull myself out. You can see I just totally pull myself out of structure. So if I go to, in English we say snatching, I try and snatch it. I try and snatch the jaw, but rather just have the feeling that as it comes down, I set the body up so that the structure basically is behind the arm. So here, try and set the structure. As soon as I go to the feeling of snatching, bang, I basically pull the whole upper body gets pulled down. So try and prioritize the work of the lower body in this case. That's it. That's it. Yeah. Very nice. So again, it's just allowing the setup is really important. Good. We don't do it. So. That's it. Good. So this is a kind of lower body exercise, and then you can do this basically as an upper body exercise, but as a way to kind of free and open the hand workout. So again, we tend to get caught in snatching. It's almost impossible to get away from the idea of grabbing and snatching, because a lot of the time in Aikido we also spend grabbing, grab. We tend to be in this kind of thing. So just play now with no grip and just working the jaw with contact. So again, just moving the body, working with contact. Now be prepared to lose the jaw. Be prepared for the jaw to fall. Totally okay, but just now you're going to work with flexibility, contact, and really feel that you pass the jaw between the two hands. Yeah. So really looking now to mobilize the upper body. Yeah, there we go. Yeah. Yeah. So it should be really relatively free. Let's see. Yeah, nice. Good. So this forces you to open the joints out. It's almost impossible to do it without. Yeah, good. Nice. Good. Good. I'm going to spotlight John because he does it better than me. So there we go. Let's see. Nice. Very nice. Very nice, John. Yeah, if you watch John, you can also see he uses the whole limb. So he uses his whole arm to do it as well. So catching it, also using the elbow, the biceps, also very interesting. Very good. Very nice. Very nice. Nice, Caroline, good. Oh, everyone's pretty good. Very nice. Good. Great. Very good. Continue. Oh, very nice. Good. Very nice. Very nice.
Great, very nice. So, where have I gone? I've lost myself. Where am I? Where am I? There we go. Oh, the feet too. Super. Great. Okay, good. We're going a little bit into kind of structure and technique. So you're just going to play this with a Jo, just a couple of hands down, a little bit here. Just take the same foot, same legs. It's basically working like an IKKYO. Just ground up and down. So now work with the same idea of contact and fluidity in the joint, but now we're going to structure it. So just come now. Hello. Come again. Come now to this position here. Coming right down to this one. I want you to really explore the legs and the upper body. Really come into this position here. And just practice this both sides. So we'll just do that one movement. We'll take it into another move next. But just really focusing on from this position. Nice, comfortable, extended, and then just sliding the body out. Sliding the body out. Oh, this way. There. That's it, very nice. So in this case, just explore this move. It's possible to do this in different directions. For now, if I'm standing this way, this is my front. I'm really going to move across. So I'm going to go right across to the side. So my movement, if I face this way, it's probably clearer. I'm going to go right across to the side, this way. Okay. So you're going to go here, and then just think kind of 90 degrees, right out to the side this way. Just play with this direction. So very kind of clear. Just there. Anchor into the back. So. Okay, good. Now just watch one thing. So in Aikido, we're always working in Hanmi. Now, Adrian posted this drawing about I should talk this way, but this is a chart about the Hanmi in the chart. Now, one of those was this Kenkaigoshi, or fighting stance, which is basically this kind of stance, which is basically this. Now, I can come into this stance in this position, as I come back here, and I can basically come into this kind of posture. Now, that posture is only used for a very few techniques. One of them is one of the Koshinagi. So that posture is actually, I want to avoid it most of the time. The problem with that diagram, it comes first in the chart, so it almost looks like it's very important. But in this case, when you do this, it's really working with Hanmi. So you've got this position, you can see my feet. As you come across, this way it's going to adjust. So this way it's going to adjust back into a kind of Hanmi. Be careful in this one. Doesn't really matter in partner in solo work, but just to train the right movement. If I do this, I basically come out where I'm basically this whole front of the body is open. Now obviously it's really clear the whole core of my body is exposed to the person that's in front of me, which I don't want. So in this case, if my partner's here, I basically want to align the body so that one side of my body's forward, and I basically protect the core. So Aikido, we don't really talk about it a lot. It's a bit clearer in sword work, but I'm really always trying to protect my core. I'm trying to protect the center line. So in this case, that basically means I go from left side Hanmi to right side Hanmi, this way. I'm really thinking about preserving the core center line of the body. Okay. Yeah, and this is actually where the atemi for me really helps. So atemi for me are also, they're interesting in themselves, but they're also about positioning of the body. So in this case, the feeling with the backhand is now you're going to strike out this way. Now that gives me a focus in the front. So my focus, I've got the jaw here, I've got the jaw here. The focus as I come out is to the front, and then this hand comes back. So just, if you like, play a little bit with the atemi this way. So I've got, my focus is really here, and then coming down this way. So the atemi for me are all helpful in terms of giving I kind of focus. That's it. That's it. That's it. That's it. Okay, good. It helps. Good. Good. That's it. That's it. Good. Yeah, good. Okay, so we come to the rest of the technique. So you can use the atemi or take it out. So sometimes it's more beneficial if you're working on kind of flexibility and weight is actually to take the movement out, because sometimes it can add a kind of jerk into the movement. So just play a little bit. Now we're going to come here, roll off to the side, atemi or not, find the hand, and then what you're going to do is now a whole body movement. So the whole body is going to shift forward, and basically take with the back hand into an IKKYO position, and then draw down. And then step through. So just come into a kind of full IKKYO position. So you come out to the side. And then here the really important point now is that I roll out of the whole body. The whole body comes up. Find the second hand. Draw down. And then take a nice big step in this way. Yeah, just give it a try. Just watch. This is basically a Katatedori IKKYO. Nice. Okay. Good. So just focus on these steps at a time. The second move now we'll look at, very interesting. So from this position is better. From this position, really feel, we talked about this kind of all this week. You've got an anchor and a kind of flexible part of the body. So basically in this case, I want this whole side of the body, the foot that's rooted, to be my anchor in the movement. And I want this side of the body to be flexible. So it's a little bit, we worked with these katate, these movements. I basically need an anchor. I need an anchor side and a kind of flexible side. What I don't want to happen is both sides are kind of flexible. What I don't want to happen is both sides are kind of rigid. So I have a kind of clear anchor through the movement. And this side's very flexible. This way here. And then in the case of the basic, I draw the foot up and then I find this position. And then I engage the hip down through the movement. And then I'll come to those next, but the first thing is just get this feeling of an anchor through the foot. So from this position, it means I'm slightly going to adjust the foot, and then I'm going to anchor it down, and then the whole back side of the body does a kind of wave through, and then I find it this way. It's a little bit more the flexible form, but just give it a try. So just look in the second move, really anchoring the move. It's nice and solid. That's it, that's it, that's it. This is a bit less obvious and also kind of unnecessary, but in terms of the solo work, or in terms of partner work, as you do this move, you come out. Now, in terms of the omote, the omote needs to happen across the front of the body, which means as I do the IKKYO, I need to pass over the front side, which means the body advances over the front. If I keep the body in the same position and then try and find the arms, I don't have enough extension to draw the person out, so the person just ends up from this position back into the posture, and then you try and do it with the arm. But if the person's kind of stable, you'll never take the balance. So you need, in a sense, to draw an arc across the front of the person's body, this way and down. So basically what that translates as in this work is as you come across here, feel that you move the whole body across this way and then draw down and then step through. Hopefully you see that kind of extra movement. Now I can get away with doing this here, but I still feel that it's basically the arms doing the movement. So try and get the feeling again with the whole body again, the whole body releases the move. And then even here, the whole body engages through the move. And then that. So just think about, again, using the whole body movement. So not the easiest thing in the world, working with a gel, but looks fine. Yeah. Okay, that's my ball. Where's my ball? Okay, good. So we got to the not the last part, but the third part. The third part is the drop. So it looks. This is. I think people have a slight problem with it, and we have a slight problem with it because we talk about the Aikido being sword work. The base is in the sword, and then you do an Ikkyo, which is like both hands coming out and doing a big arc away from the body, and it looks nothing like sword work. But if you think about it, it's basically an applied form of a cut with a sword. So it's basically an application of this movement. And this movement we make in the first Subaru, but it's an application of it to the empty hand. So what you're doing now is this, and then really the whole center draws down this way. Now it translates into an arcing spiral. So it's not a direct translation from this to this, but I need the feeling in this case that the center's dropping this way. So again, it comes back to the ground and gravity that I just want the thing to drop this way. But I'm going to descend it in this case rather than straight down in an arc. I'm going to descend it into a spiral. So it descends now down through the spiral. What that basically means is I don't do it with the arms and do this. This is basically doing the Ikkyo. But just feel that you can let the Ikkyo drop to the ground this way. So it's done with full extension, but the feeling's a little bit like when we do these swings. So all these kind of movements are really important for me because they basically train a pattern in the body. So just play now, just with this idea. A long way of saying, just raise up, find this kind of position, and then just feel that you drop from the hip. Raise up, and drop from the hip, and allow the hands to basically be dragged down. So it's this, and just feel as if, we didn't do this morning, but feel like the jaw can drop. So the jaw can just drop, and then I'm basically just going to drop and align to it. Now, that's happening in a very complex way with the person's structure when we work with a partner. I'm taking them out of the balance and I'm dropping them towards the ground, or they are dropping towards the ground, and I just align behind it, which is a different thing of taking them to the ground. So it's drawing them out of the balance and then allowing them to fall into the ground, and I just align behind it. Okay, good. Let's focus on just that last bit, just raising and lowering. Seems like a very simple thing, but yeah, that's it, Caroline. Good. Yes, that's it. Good. Okay. Yeah, and it also goes a little bit something I said a few days ago. So I think this kind of feeling of down and out, we tend to now focus just on the down. Boom. And I basically I have the down grounded, but I actually have no sense of the out. So just think in terms of this, of a spiral coming out of the body, which basically in this case translates that the arms are coming out into this position. So think in terms of Taina Henko, these kind of positions, where I'm putting the structure of the body into a really engaged position. So I need the hips, the whole body to engage into the Ikkyo, because otherwise I'm basically doing it in these kind of positions, or I'm doing it by pushing through it. So just think in terms of this one of doing this. So the whole structure is going to engage. And then for me, this is also really key, clear link to the Bokken work. So I'm engaging through the whole body, through the cut. I engage the hip, and engage the hip. So just think a little bit more extension out as you do it. That's it. Yeah. So that's it. Got it. You got it. Good. Nice. So. And then we'll just come to the fourth part. So people can usually get the extension quite clear, get the extension. And then as they take the step, they lose it. And then they push into it this way. So just keep, in this case, find the extension, drain it down. Now from here, this relationship stays the same. So the center to the jaw, as I come through, stays the same. The moment I lose it, that's when I go into pushing and I basically release the technique. And if the person's switched on in their origami, they'll just roll out of it and escape. So as soon as they feel the tension is released in the arm, I can actually just escape from the technique. And we don't tend to do it in the dojo because we try and be nice, but I sometimes don't be nice. So try, just find this, drop. Now keep the relationship to the center. And just step in behind it. And just explore a nice big step, because it's a nice thing to do, really lower body, drain down, and then feel this connect, and then comes right behind it. This way. So it's one big step. And again, this is really about the relationship to the ground. So what I'm doing with the partner is pressing them through the ground. So it's not like I'm kind of placing, which basically translates to this in the jaw. I can kind of place the jaw on the ground in a kind of nice way. It's okay. I'm going to place it down. Or I can really get the feeling that I'm going to press the jaw through the ground. And my feeling is that my whole body is doing this through the ground. So again, relates to kind of sword work. That the feeling is I can kind of place the sword nicely, or I can really have the sense that this is a joke, but I'm going to really ground through the whole body. So feel, basically open up the direction below. So it basically means as you do this, really feel that you press through the ground, and basically setting the whole structure to be grounded. And if you like, come all the way down to the ground, but you can also just stay up if you feel like it.
Michael, I will bow out. My day job interferes with
Okay. Good, buddy. Thank you very much. Wait. Very good. That's it. Nice, Caroline. Very good. So, very nice. That's it. Yeah. Very nice. Okay, so we'll just open this out now into two levels. So the first one is basically doing the same movements, just making them a little bit freer and flexible. I advise in this case, just take the attending out because it can really start to kind of screw with the dynamics of the technique. So just do the same thing. Feel you're coming out to the side, rolling, dropping down, and then stepping through. And if you like, you can also come to the ground. But just basically do it in a kind of flexible way. So I'm basically gonna, if you think of the base technique as like a squat, very solid, grounded, like this. Very solid, grounded, like that. It's got really clear, sharp edges. And then what you're basically doing now is starting to round the edges off. So you get it like this. So you get something much more round. So you basically start to shave the edges off the square. That way. And try and lose none of the precision. This is the work. So we tend to go smooth and then we basically lose the precision of the base. So just see if you can. Maintain a real sense of clarity in the form, but also make it very flexible. Oh, yeah, super. And this is this famous phrase from Osensei where he says Aikido has 4 qualities. And the first one he says about is like hard as a diamond, which is basically for me is the Kihon, very clear, static, hard diamond. The second one he says is be like a willow. So in a sense, it's like bamboo. So he says flexible like willow. So in a sense, this is the second stage where I go from something that's quite hard, static, to something that's much more flexible this way. So now working in this kind of area. So look now, be a bit more, be like bamboo. So it's got this kind of quality. So the basic is the basic structures there. If you think of bamboo, very grounded, very strong, but very kind of flexible on top. And very resilient, very resilient. That's it. Yeah, very nice, good. That's it. And again, the more you start to go dynamic, this is why this is why we start really with a base which is very static, and we don't start with movement straight away, because if you start with movement straight away, you tend to go light. So if I go straight into movement, the tendency is for the move to become very light, which basically means I'm ungrounded. So try and match a sense of flexibility. So if you think of bamboo or you think of a tree, think of a really deep root in the movement. So the movement has a really clear sense of the ground. So that's especially important when I make this rising movement. If I leave the ground, or if I do it by draining the body down through the ground this way, and then finding this way. So just see if you can basically find the root in the movement. That's it. There we go. So, very nice. Nice. Good, everyone. Very good. Yeah, very nice. Good. And then the next step is the third kind of level is where we go into Kinanagari work. For me, I like Ikkyo because it's very clear the basic Kihon, and then go into a fluid, flexible state, and then into this Kinanagari state. So in this case, you're going to change, when you go to Kinanagari, things technically change in the movement. So you can obviously go to the side and do this, but it's quite difficult to do in a kind of flow. So what I want you to do now is practice. You're going to roll the body back down into this move. So you're going to do a different footwork for this, which is basically adjusting back and coming down through the jaw. And then from here, everything's the same. Roll across, draw down, step through. Okay. We're going to do now this, just do the first few in a kind of base way. Find the movement coming through. And then once you've got the kind of coordination for it, just start to flow it all together. So together. So you start to go into a kind of fluid state. This is why I said you have to be fluid like water. So this is the third step for me. This is very clear. He said fluid like water, like Bruce Lee said. Be water. This is very, very fluid. Yeah, good. Nice. Good. That's it. Very nice. Yeah, okay. And this is for me where we go into the kinanagari, where kind of catching the spiral in the movement is the matter of the technique working or not. So the technique will either work or not depending on how much of a spiral I can draw into the technique. Because the danger with this technique is if I go fluid and I go into rigid, if I go into linear patterns, again straight away the person gets drawn out. And then if you give them a linear movement or even a circular movement, they just come back into the balance. Because I can predict, basically the body can predict linear movements. So if you push towards me, I can predict where it's going. Even if you kind of circle towards me, I can predict where it's going. But if you spiral towards me, the body goes, whoa, what the hell? So the body gets pulled out by spirals because you're giving it 3 directions. So it just can't really cope with it. So in essence, what that means is when you do this, see if you can really look for a sense of a spiral through that movement. So especially this move as you raise through the IKKYO here. I can do this in a kind of circular way, or I can do it really with a sense of coiling spiral through the movement. So just explore that kind of sense, just kind of spiraling through the movement. It means a little bit kind of opening the technique out. So it's now really a kind of full dynamic spiral. Yeah, and don't be afraid to kind of play with the technique. So come a little bit out of the form a little bit. And it's basically trying to find a feeling. It's got technical details, but it's more of a feeling. Trying to pass a spiral through the movement. Yeah, very nice. Right. No, very good. 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 Okay, and then the fourth level, the fourth level, as I talked about, was the empty as space, or empty as the void, he says, in the calligraphy, which is kind of where you're talking about TAKEMUSU AIKIDO. This is where the techniques kind of come out flowing and the kind of, you give birth to techniques, basically. This is the kind of the translation of it, which you can't replicate in a class, and I can't show you. So what I'm basically going to ask you to do is do something which is a kind of Takemusu light, and you do basically freestyle. So just go into kind of freestyle with the techniques. You can pass the IKKYO, really open the movements out, and just feel where the body wants to go. The main thing is I don't really think about it. So if I'm thinking about it, I'm in the wrong kind of area. So if it means by not thinking, I just do the same thing, then that's kind of preferable. So if you like, just stick to this kind of basic one that I've shown. And just keep going through it and get to the point where I can do it without really thinking so much about it. And it just kind of happens through the body. And then if I can get that, just feel, you might want to start opening out and explore different movements and also kind of different techniques. And then now it's kind of freestyle, just the last minute or so. Yeah, let's keep everything fluid. Wow. Yeah. That's it. And if in doubt, just keep moving. Don't stop. Just move. You basically got to move faster than you can think, in a way. Don't give the brain a chance to hold you back. That's, yeah, very nice. Wow. Good. That's, that's it. Great. Good. Yeah, the next level, I just kind of thought of a way you can play with this a little bit is to introduce chaos. So if I'm thinking about Takemusu Aikido or freestyle Aikido, it basically means I give away control. So my movements are aligning to what the other person is doing, or actually what we're both doing. So it's about a kind of connection between the two. So in order to do that, we maybe explore this tomorrow or another day, is you basically introduce a bit of chaos. So you allow the stick to basically free itself, and then you work with it. And you can work from these kind of positions. Right. And then you come into the technique. So I give a bit of a surprise to the body so that it's got something to kind of deal with. That's not all under my control. So a lot of the freestyle stuff that Gio has is about giving away my control. So that's another lesson entirely. So we'll bow out. So, okay. はい。どうもありがとうございました。
どうも、ありがとうございました。
Very good.